key idea that I want you all to listen for, and it's universally shared in this room, is that the scrappiest, most cash-poor brands can win by being willing to zig while others zag. And that willingness to do so took Humm from the farmer's market straight to the convenience store, and from CenturyLink Field and the Seattle Seahawks to Target and 7-Eleven. The point is that for nearly a decade, Jaime and the team at Humm haven't been scared to push the envelope for where they can find their consumer or where the grocery buyer that they attack lives, even with something as unconventional as kombucha. So let's hear her story. Please welcome Jaime Danek.
All right, how's it going? Hey, I'm Jaime Danek, CEO and co-founder of Humm Kombucha out of Bend, Oregon. Wow, these lights are bright. And I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, so I'm from the East Coast. 10 years ago, I drove across the country and moved my family to Oregon just to have a look for a year or so. An interesting thing happened on the drive out. The stock market crashed. So by the time I got to Oregon, within the next 6 weeks, my business was totally in the toilet. So I was an IT recruiter. I had a consulting business across the country. It was very financially rewarding. It wasn't super heart rewarding, but it was kind of like the golden handcuffs. Couldn't kind of leave that type of job. So I would have had to rebuild the business. For the third time in 15 years, I decided not to do it. So I'm in this town, I know nobody. And a couple of months later, I meet a girl on a tennis court, and we become fast friends. And we sit at the kitchen table, and we're having a blast. Now, Bend, Oregon is, when it's great, it's great. It's a boom and bust town. So when it's great, like it's top 10 places to live in the country, everybody wants to move there. When it's bad, every other house is for sale, half of downtown was boarded up, and this is what we walked into. Michelle and I, though, were stoked all the time. And we were like, holy shit, I wonder if it's the kombucha. So we drink kombucha. So we were like, all right, we got to get this out to everyone. So it literally started with a Prius, gallon glass jars, and the new version of the milkman. That was our story. The thing about Michelle's kombucha is it tasted really, really good. It was light, refreshing. It was super easy to drink. It was kind of like an iced tea. It was something that you would just grab and drink. Now, in 2009, the only place you could find kombucha was at Whole Foods or at health food stores. There were two types of people that drank it. There was a person that knew it was good for them. They held their nose. They totally got it down because it was strong, it's vinegary, it was much more traditional back in 2009. And then, of course, there was a small percentage of people that actually liked it and developed a taste for it. It certainly wasn't anything that was meant for the general public or would have been adopted by the general public. Michelle's kombucha was completely different. Like I said, light, refreshing. So we said, what if you didn't shop at Whole Foods? What if you didn't go to health food stores, but you still wanted a healthy choice? Would you make that choice? We followed that path for the last 7 years. Our first national launch was Target, followed by Safeway, Costco. I think we just launched Publix, Walmart. And, you know, people said it was a really bad idea. We were in one Whole Foods when we launched Target last year. And it wasn't because we didn't want to be in Whole Foods. Matt, we need to talk. But because Whole Foods, they didn't like our model, right? We were in Winco, we were in discount grocers, we were in convenience stores. And they didn't like our model. People said it was a really bad idea to go down this path, and then we didn't have a choice. So we were like, all right, hopefully we'll figure this out later. Right now, we're just busy trying to make tea, sell tea, and keep up with all the tea that we were selling. So we were on this path. Last year, we got ranked Inc. 500, top fastest growing companies in the country. We're also ranked number 3. This is really important in the MULO channel. So number 1 is GT, is a multi-billion-dollar, half-billion-dollar brand. Number 2 is Kavita, which is owned by Pepsi. And number 3 is Humm Kombucha out of Bend, Oregon, run by 2 women. Okay, so what is this company all about? We are all about the people. So we are run by women, and we are about people and culture. We're about creating a community where people can thrive. They can really learn to be their best. They can make mistakes. They can just create an environment where people can really be their best. And what happens at Humm is people show up as their best, and there's a bunch of rock stars that are at Humm. I think half of our staff is millennials. So So that's kind of our staff. We believe that when the people are happy and people are stoked, you create great things and magic happens, and then that, of course, lends to the company, and the company, great things and magic happens. Now, the brand itself is a lot different than many of the kombuchas on the market, at least back then. For sure, today it's a little bit different, but back then, as you look at our bottles are super colorful. They're interesting, they're unique. There's nothing that, you look at that bottle and there's nothing that says health. We are a traditional, live, raw, fermented kombucha. We are as healthy as any kombucha on the market, if not healthier. So it's not about that. It's just about you got to think in 2009, our competitors were like Coke, Pepsi, Red Bull, Monster. That's who we were on the shelf with because we weren't in the traditional stores. So we label our products with lemonade. Our flavors are lemonade, they're blueberry mint, they're apple cinnamon. They're things that like Americans get and understand, they feel comfortable with. People don't know what kombucha is at the time. They're starting to get to know what it is, but I think it's still only 3 or 4% of the population that even know what it is. I know this room knows what it is. The second thing is flavor profile. Super light, easy to drink. Like I said, it's almost like an iced tea. You would drink it just because it tastes good, and then, by the way, it's healthy for you. It's just an added bonus. We price it very affordably. So when we're on the shelf, our goal is to make sure that somebody that's looking at the shelf won't not buy Humm because of the price point. So it's not the most expensive. It's generally not the cheapest. It's generally in the middle. And then the last piece about it is we place it where people shop. So back in 2009, the places we were going to, the convenience stores and grocery stores that were in Whole Foods, like I said, it was Coke, Pepsi, energy drinks. That's where we were. People had no idea what this product is, so we needed to make it look fun and exciting and interesting for somebody to pick it up. And the clicker. So we chose to go a different way than we actually didn't really even choose it. It was kind of like it was the product we had, it was just different, and so there had to be a different path to market. So our distribution strategy, here's how we did it. We went into everywhere but Whole Foods and health food stores. We went into grocery stores, coffee shops, pizza shops, gas stations, ethnic grocery stores. And we went to the craziest places, and what happened was the stuff flew off the shelf. People didn't even know what they were buying. They were just drinking it, and it was going really, really well. The second thing we did was we distributed with a DSD model. So we were all about, like Cheers, everybody knows your name. I sang in front of you guys. I'm so excited about that. Okay, so we wanted to be known up and down the street in the Pacific Northwest. That's all we wanted. And the natural food distributors like UNFI, they don't do up and down the street business, but DSD distributors, beer distributors, Pepsi distributors, this is their jam. And if we can get them excited about Humm and what we're doing, then we can get up and down the street. The second piece of that is they support draft, and we had a really big draft program, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. Okay, super funny story. Can I see a raise of hands? How many of you guys know who Winco is? The grocer Winco. Okay, it's like in 18 states, just over 100 stores, like a bulk, low-price grocer. We get a call from Washington, from the Winco, and the sales rep says, hey, I'm so excited we got Humm into this grocery store. You're not going to believe it. We have like 60 facings. Okay, that's an awesome set, right? Okay, we have 60 facings. She goes, the only thing about it is they stuck us between the Lunchables and the $2 bacon. And I'm going to move us as soon as possible. And I said, don't touch a thing. Well, first off, I didn't even know you could buy $2 bacon. So that was the start. And then, did you? I mean, I don't know that you could buy $2 bacon, but you can at Winco, in case any of you guys need to shop there. Okay, so I said, don't touch a thing, and what do you think would happen? I have no idea what would happen. We were just like, look, we're trying to access America. If Lunchables aren't America, I mean, whether you eat them or not, we all know what they are. Okay, that's fair. A couple weeks later, people started walking out of Winco with a Lunchable and a Humm Kombucha for lunch. It's badass. Okay, so that means that, so I curse a lot, sorry, I'm just gonna say that now. So what that means is that they're eating a Lunchable, which we all know isn't very good for us, and now they have a probiotic B vitamin powerhouse. They don't even know what they're drinking, but it's so good for them, they're loving it. A couple months later, we had a call from the national buyer, and he says, listen, I don't know what this kombucha stuff is, but it's selling off the shelves and we want to get it into our stores. We're like, hell yeah, okay. So that was our first, actually, mini national launch. All right, number 2, self-service draft. Okay, so I'll be really clear here. We had no idea what we were doing when we did this. We started this phenomenon with kombucha on draft. So we were one of the, it's funny, we were one of the first kombuchas in the country to put kombucha on draft. We had no idea what we were doing in a sense of all we were trying to do was make it in bulk. We were trying to make it more affordable. We were trying to make it taste better, and we needed bigger vessels than the gallon glass jars. These were 5 gallons. So we started this self-service model. So we put the kombucha in. We started with these 2-tap kegerators. Okay, you guys remember these? Where you guys might have them on the East Coast now. I know in a couple years ago you didn't. You certainly didn't in 2009. And you find these like in people's like basements or in their garages where they have beer. Well, we started putting kombucha in these things and putting it into stores. So I just forgot to tell you something, but we started putting into these stores. So the same coffee shops, the same pizza shops, the same gas stations, the same grocery stores, all got these 2-tap kegerators. So the one thing I forgot to mention before is some issues. So, you got issues, I got issues, we all got issues. Humm has plenty of issues. One of the biggest issues, we have 3 main ones that I'm going to tell you about. One of the biggest issues is we never had money. We are, as Jeff said, super scrappy. We started with $1,500 in a shoebox. Every time we made a little bit of money, we bought more fermenters and we made more tea. The problem is we were so successful and the business was doing so well, we were constantly out of tea. So our number 2 issue is we're always out of tea. The more we made, the more we sold, it just didn't matter. Third issue is we had no marketing budget. Okay, so we have 2 problems here. A, our kombucha tastes totally different than any other kombuchas on the market. That's 1. 2, we're on the shelves with no other kombucha anyway. We're on the shelves with like, the energy drinks and the sodas. So we had no way of telling people what this product was. We had no way of driving trial. So the cool thing about these kegerators that we didn't know what we were doing, we kind of knew this one a little bit, is we ended up with a 24-hour demo program, right? So now we have these little taster cups. People can just walk by these coffee shops, the pizza shop, the gas station, and they just start drinking the kombucha. Well, this stuff tastes awesome. I don't know how many of you have had this kombucha Humm? Can I see you raise your hands? We're not super in New York yet. All right, so I'm going to tell you what happens with kombucha. People that drink kombucha generally drink it on a regular basis. And can I see a raise of hands? How many of you guys drink kombucha on a regular basis? Okay, Jeff, you're a little off. Maybe like 15, 20% of the room drink it on a regular basis. Here's what we know about kombucha, is when you drink kombucha, it brings your body into balance. So you eat like you eat in America, you eat your Lunchables, you eat your Big Macs, you eat organic, whatever you eat and your body goes out of balance. You drink a kombucha, your body goes back into balance. Eat the way you eat, drink a kombucha. So what happens is you start to crave it. It becomes an addiction, and a really healthy addiction, I'll mind you. And so these growlers that are on the right-hand side, they'd sit next to the kegerators, and people would fill up their growlers and drink the kombucha. What was brilliant about this was at the grocery stores, it became a staple for people that were really into kombucha. Okay, don't take my word on it on drinking kombucha. It's like 15% of you drink kombucha every day. I have a proposition for you. So we have this thing, we call it the 7-day challenge. You drink a bottle of Humm every day for 7 days. Don't change anything you do. Don't stop drinking your coffee, your beer, however you eat. Like if you're an organic person, great. If you're a vegetarian, if you like fast food, don't change anything. All you do is note how you feel on day 1 and how you feel on day 7. 95% of you in this room will have a significant impact on your person in that week, guaranteed. And so whether you might sleep better, you might have more energy, you might just feel better, you might just be happier, who knows? So this is what happens to people when they start drinking kombucha every day. Okay, here's why it was brilliant. So we were, and again, I'm not taking credit for this because we didn't exactly know what we were doing, is that we went into these grocery stores and people started buying kombucha on a regular basis. So we took it a little bit bigger. And we started putting now 10-tap kegerators in specific grocery stores. Now, we were only in the Pacific Northwest at the time, in specific grocery stores, and we'd come in with this super, sophisticated demo program where we'd teach everybody about kombucha and we get them all excited. And then now we have this huge grocery store that has a 24-hour demo. Again, we still don't have any marketing money anyway. That's a good move. It's a good thing because we really needed these. So a couple years ago, 2 years ago, we were only in the Pacific Northwest at this time. We got a call from Safeway in LA. And they said, we saw one of your kegerators. We want to put it in the busiest Safeway pavilions on Santa Monica Boulevard in LA. And we want you to come out here and do this. So we went out and we formed a partnership with them. One of the things about Humm is we're really, really big on partnership. It's not about just selling a drink and yeah, buy my drink and yeah, we'll make you successful and it's all really good. It's about really learning about each other, learning about our brand, learning about their set, what they're looking to accomplish and how we can help them do that. So we put a 10-tap kegerator in there and the deal was we're gonna educate your people. So here's what we know about people with kombucha. If you don't know about kombucha, if you don't drink it and you don't understand it, you will not talk about it. However, if you start drinking this stuff every day, or if you get to know it and you start to feel better, You don't want to talk about anything else. Well, you might want to talk about a couple other things, but I mean, it's good. You really want us to start talking about this a lot. So what we do is we come in and we educate their teams. We educate everybody. We had like 300 people in a kombucha training at this Safeway in Santa Monica Boulevard and got them all super excited, or at least knowing what kombucha was so that they could talk to the customers about it. At the same time, nobody in LA knew who Humm was. So the deal was they needed to put our bottles in all their stores and help us build our brand. So we're going to help you be super successful with tap, because nobody was doing tap at the time. There might have been a little of those 2-tap kegerators a couple years ago, but there were certainly not sophisticated units like this. So very, very successful last year. Same thing happened in Safeway Denver, in Denver, Colorado. So on Diagonal Highway in Boulder, like the busiest Safeway, they put a Humm Kombucha kegerator in. We did the same type of thing. We put all of our bottles in all of their stores across 5 states in a couple hundred stores. They helped us build our brand. We helped make them really successful. The product does amazing. It's super cool. And I think it was a win. It's a win for everyone. I shouldn't have clicked that yet. Okay. Number 3. Go big, or at least act like you are, because this is one of my favorite things. So us Hummsters, and let me tell you what a Hummster is. So a Hummster, not to be confused with the phonetic spelling like hamster. Hummsters, that's what we call ourselves at Humm. We believe that we are really big, and we believe that we're making a huge impact. Now, whether that's true or not, as I said in New York City, I mean, we're really big. You guys don't even know who you are, right? I don't know if it's true or not. It doesn't matter. We believe it. How do you convince the rest of the world that you're really big? One of the things you can do is you can partner with the NFL. You can be the official kombucha of the Seattle Seahawks and be the first kombucha to ever partner with the NFL. So we got introduced to one guy at CenturyLink Stadium, the president of CenturyLink Stadium, led to dozens of phone calls, hundreds of bottles sent to the stadium. The office staff was completely hooked on the kombucha, and they're all trying to figure out how to get Humm in their stadium and how to partner. It took the NFL 6 weeks to determine whether kombucha could actually be assigned a contract, because as you can imagine, every non-alcoholic beverage on planet Earth has a contract with the NFL. But kombucha didn't have a contract yet, so this is really cool. So we're like, yeah, we're totally going to partner with you guys. Okay, we get the price tag. Holy shit. Is it expensive to partner with the NFL? I mean, we're a tiny little company. We don't have a marketing budget yet. I mean, this was like 6 figures. This is a lot of money. So we were like, okay, this is a terrible idea. I mean, if you look at the ROI, nobody knows what kombucha is, especially not the NFL. I mean, we sold 1 bottle our first game, just to give you the ROI, $7. Yeah. The second game was 10. Luckily, we didn't do it for the ROI. We totally knew that that was not, I mean, we would have had to sell hundreds of thousands of bottles of kombucha. Number 2 is, it was 75% of our marketing budget for the year. This is 2015, so we had a small marketing budget. Holy shit, is that a terrible idea? Third, we're tiny. We're this little tiny company. We think we're huge, but we're really, in reality, tiny. Not a good idea to partner with the NFL. However, we saw it differently. So we were thinking about the thousands, the tens of thousands of people that would learn about kombucha, and we were thinking about all the people we could sample. We were thinking about that 24-hour demo, and we were thinking about how we could leverage. Like we're scrappy. We would leverage the heck out of this. Look, I'm talking to you about it today. You guys think I'm big too, right? You think we're big at Humm because we partner with the NFL? Thank you. So I'll leverage the heck out of it. We have a team that's going to execute, and we just had this feeling. Think about where the places I told you we launched: Target, Costco, Walmart, Safeway. If you don't think that I talked about that we were partners with the NFL at those meetings, now I'm not saying that they signed with us because of that, but I will bet you that some of those meetings, they're like, I remember one of the meetings they said to us, wow, we didn't even know kombucha was part of the NFL. I mean, you guys must be really big. I mean, they didn't say that, but I thought that's what they were thinking for sure. All right, so partnership, here's the deal. I cannot sign a partner with somebody. I cannot shake your hand and say, hey, we're going to be partners together unless you're drinking the tea. So the guys had to be drinking the tea, meaning the players. And they're like, we can't guarantee the guys are going to drink the tea. I'm like, all right, just put it in front of them. I know they're going to drink it if you put it in front of them. So they said, all right, how should we do this? I'm like, well, you know how like Gatorade's on the field? Like we could just have Humm on the field with Gatorade. And that was hilarious. I mean, I ask for anything, and they're just like, there's no way. That's a non-starter. We're not even having that conversation. You guys couldn't even afford our fee, let alone being on the... Okay, so then we said, remember those handy-dandy 2-tap kegerators? Okay, well, what if we put one of those in the training facility, in the cafeteria? Now that office staff that's completely hooked on the product from when we started, they can get access to it every day. Now the team can get access to it every day. Okay, so the nutritionist got totally hooked on the kombucha. She starts putting it in their smoothies every day. I have a true story for you. On October 18th, 2015, the Seahawks just lost their 4th game of the season. They were 2-4. They were set up for a super sucky year. On October 20th, 2015, a Humm Kombucha kegerator was put in the training facility. This is a true story. On October 22nd, the Seahawks won their first of the next 8-game winning streak to take them to one of their most successful seasons in their history. Now, I'm not saying it was the Humm Kombucha kegerator, but I'm not saying it wasn't, and I'm going to leverage the heck out of this relationship. I have one more thing to say. I want to just go back to Expo West. So Expo West 2017, we're just there a couple months ago, and Whole Foods comes to visit us, and they're like, hey, we're really thinking we'd love to get you guys to know some more regions. And we're like, they love us. Like, Whole Foods likes us. We're so excited. Like, we've been waiting to be accepted by this giant monster that hasn't, whatever. And we're like, okay, yeah, we totally want to be in Whole Foods, but full disclosure, we got to tell them we're launching Walmart in 2 weeks. They're going to be so pissed. This is not the way they do it. This, in our past, every time we worked with a gas station or something, no, Humm's everywhere. We don't want them to be in our stores. And the guy said, that was the way we used to think a couple years ago, and then we've really had to update our thinking on that. We're excited to try and get you guys into more stores. So we are now in 2 divisions of Safeway, or Whole Foods. I just heard from Matt this morning that 1 more, and we get to go global, which is really exciting. And then Whole Foods can catch up with everybody else. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, sweet. I was kidding about Whole Foods catching up with everybody else. I was just kidding.
What about when you called them a monster?
I called them a monster on stage? Well, they're hard for small companies. It's like ours.
It's a time-honored strategy to surround Whole Foods in a particular area to get the Whole Foods employees to start picking up a beverage and bringing it back into the Whole Foods. I think you've surrounded the entire country.
We were in 1 Whole Foods. I forgot to mention, we were in 1. We sold about 80 cases a week at this Whole Foods. And still, the buyers, so I'll just say that.
So you were doing this at a time when, you were sort of covert kombucha, let's call it. You're
it's like a spy.
Yeah, you're getting this product out there. Maybe, and you're not necessarily saying, even on that chain, it was Humm Tea, and the profile is a little different from a lot of the kombucha that was being made in 2009, 2010. And so you've taken this sort of mainstream road, one that's wound all over the country, but as a mainstream beverage play as opposed to this sort of esoteric product that kombucha is usually presented as. Now, kombucha is moving toward the mainstream. So how are you guys gonna, do you feel a need to sort of come back in to the category, or do you stay focused on brand?
We never left the category. We wanted to be in the category the whole time. We're in health food stores. It's not that we're not in health food stores. It's just not our focus. And the one thing I'll say too is that, we haven't had tea. We've been out of tea forever. And so this year, for the first time in 2017, we have a state-of-the-art 40,000 square foot facility where more tea than we can make. More tea than we can sell for the first time in company history. So this gives us a lot of opportunity and a lot of leverages. Now we're looking at, yes, building the brand, but also getting it into the hands of consumers everywhere. And Whole Foods and health foods stores are consumers.
So we talked about this a lot when we were getting ready for this. How much of this is luck and how much of this is planning?
Oh, it's 99% luck.
No,
it's not. I'm just kidding. It's like, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a good amount of luck. It's like you have a great idea. You really believe in what you're doing. You're like totally bought into this thing. You get a bunch of people like bought into what you're doing and this great idea. And, there's the right place, right time, the weather's perfect. Like, there's a lot of pieces that make it where it works. This industry's on fire. We happen to be in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you still think of convenience as being a big part of your footprint?
Yes, but some of the learnings on that is we were a little early in some areas. Convenience isn't ready for it across the country. I don't think convenience is ready for it in a handful of geographic areas. But when we launched convenience stores, we noticed in different parts of the state, they would do really well in some parts and nobody would pick it up in other parts. So yes, but over time. I don't think it's quite there yet.
But again, you managed to be just slightly ahead of the curve in your region.
Yeah.
What about on the East Coast? How far away is that from being prime kombucha country?
Convenience stores?
Just the entire channel.
I think it's close. I think we're a couple years out. Not too much more than a couple years.
So how are you prepping for East Coast then? For the East Coast,
Well,
for the
we're
East Coast to catch
staffing
up to
up.
Humm.
We're staffing up. We just launched Costco. This is hilarious. We launched Costco in the Southeast, so in Alabama and in Georgia. They don't even have GTs in Costco. So they put Humm in there and we do some tests and it does really well. And it's kind of like boots on the ground type of strategy, as well as, we have a little bit more of a marketing budget now. It's kind of good, so we can, sample out and tell people about it.
So let's talk about that.
Our marketing budget?
Well, let's talk about your overall budget for a minute. You guys just brought in some...
Okay, we have money. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
So what are you going to do?
For the first time in history, we can actually focus on running the business and not spend 75% of my life on the phone with lawyers and people with money that want to give us money. Which is great. What are we going to do with it?
Yeah, what's the plan?
We're going to spend it. We're going to go to these fancy events and order room service. And no, of course.
I think one of our sales guys is ready to talk sponsorship, Jamie.
We have a huge initiative. We are staffing to double plus triple our sales this year and next year. We've doubled our sales every year we've been in business. And we now have the money to pay for it versus we always have these huge initiatives, but then we keep looking for money to pay for it as we go along. Now we don't have to, it's already funded, and now we can just really focus on what's important and what makes sense for the business versus what can you afford.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us and for sharing your story.
My
I'm
pleasure.
really glad you did it.
Me too. Super fun. Awesome.